Today we're going to make a s'mores cheesecake, which is absolutely perfect for summer. I actually have already made one of these while Mom and Dad were on vacation, but I had to film myself and it was really difficult, and so the angles weren't as good. And Andrew and Christina tried it and they liked it so much that they wanted one. So this is my second time making it, so I'm a pro at this point. Preheat your oven to 325. Ours is going right now. You need a 10-inch springform pan for cheesecakes. And I've gone ahead and measured a lot of this stuff out. You need a whole sleeve of graham crackers. You can buy whatever brand you want, it doesn't matter. And go ahead and put them in your food processor because you need to turn them into dust. They do sell this. They do sell pre-crushed graham crackers, but I could not find any. So we're going to hold it down and we're going to just do it until it turns into dust. Okay, the last time I made this, I could not find the crumbs either, and I went ahead and just rolled it.
It's okay.
I just dropped things. I went ahead and rolled it out with a rolling pin, just because it was easier than dragging the behemoth out. Looking back, I wish I had gone ahead and drug it out. That's why I'm making sure I use it this time. And I'm going to get a bowl out, and I'll be right back. So I went ahead and took the blade out. That would be easier for me to measure. And we need 2.5 cups. I don't know if I'm going to be able to measure it in this. No. If that came out, I could. I bet this is going to be about. I'm going to go ahead and just pour the rest in there because those weren't all completely full. And yes, my hands are clean. Okay, so that is about 2.5 cups right there. And I'll dump some. Then we're going to take 1/2 cup of sugar and pour that in, just regular sugar. And then the last thing we're going to add in is 3/4 cup of butter. I went ahead and melted it, so it's pretty much all melted away. And then we are going to stir all this together. Stir it very carefully because I've learned that if you dump it on the floor, it never all comes off. It will take forever. Okay, that's all good and mixed, and you want to make sure that just the graham cracker and the sugar is all wet, that way it'll stick together. So I'm going to get my pan out, and I'm just going to dump some of this in to start with. Okay, and I'm going to just start pressing and flicking it out on the counter apparently. You want to avoid making any holes, and you want to try to get it as even as possible. So our oven is now preheated to 325, if you could hear that. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some from the bottom and push it up from the sides, just because it's easier that way. This cheesecake, since I already made it once, it is a full cheesecake. It will go all the way up. But if you want to leave a little bit uncrusted, I guess, then you can do that. That's up to you. You just want to try to get it as even as possible. You don't want one side to be 1 inch thick and the other to be 1/4 of an inch thick. Okay, so now I'm going to pour the rest of it in the bottom. Now I love this graham cracker crust, and so I make mine a little bit thicker than some people would. I'm actually going to take a little bit of that out. Too much even for me. Okay. See how there's a big hole right there? You want to make sure that you don't have any of those. So just press right on over. Okay, so I'm going to rinse my hands off. Now, the next thing you do is add marshmallows to the bottom. There's no exact measurement. It's just however many evenly cover the bottom. And these are mini marshmallows, by the way. I didn't say that. You want the mini ones. You don't want the big ones. And you will use this entire bag throughout this recipe. This is not a low-calorie dessert. All right, and then you need Hershey's Hot Fudge topping. And I learned last time, do not follow the directions on the jar because it will bubble over in your microwave and you will have to scrub it out before Mom finds out. Not that that happened or anything. So I'm going to put this in the microwave, take off the top, if I can take off the top, and put it in there for about 30 seconds and check it before you, don't just leave it in there for a couple minutes. So I'll be right back. So you're going to take your hot fudge topping and you're just going to kind of drizzle it over top. And I'd rather it be thicker like this than running out like water. Okay, so I'm going to pop this in the fridge because you want to refrigerate this after opening. And we're actually going to put this in the fridge as well, the whole pan. That way it just has a little bit of time to set up before we put the filling in. So I'll be right back. The filling, you need 16 ounces of cream cheese, which I already have in there. You need 14 ounces of sweetened and condensed milk, 3 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then you need about 1.5 cups of marshmallows and 1 cup of mini chocolate chips. These are the Nestle mini morsels, and these are my favorite to use in pretty much any recipe that calls for chocolate, even mini or not. I just love it. So we have our cream cheese in there, and we're going to take our 14 ounces of sweetened and condensed milk and scrape off the top. You don't want to lose any of the goodness. We're just going to dump that in. Yeah, if you thought this was a low-calorie dessert, you were wrong. So I'm going to put my mixer down, lock it in, and turn it on low. While it's mixing, I'm going to add my 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Ooh, almost threw that out. Turn it up a notch. Now what will happen with cream cheese is it will get stuck in there, so you kind of have to push it out. And you have to get the bottom too. Alright, so that's partially mixed. I'm going to start adding my 3 eggs one at a time. I'm going to crank it up to 3. Then I'm just going to go around the edges and I'm going to scrape a little bit off the spatula with my spatula. And I did not say this before, the cream cheese needs to be room temperature so it's nice and soft. So I'm going to put it in one more time on 1 or 2. Alright, and it's good to go. Okay, I'm going to rinse off my hands and put this in the sink, that way it does not make a mess. And I'll be right back. So now we're going to take our 1.5 cups of marshmallow and our 1 cup of mini morsels, the mini chocolate chips, and just dump it all in. And we're going to fold it in. So you don't want to mix these or else the marshmallow will get gunked up in your mixer. And you don't want it really to be broken apart. They just want to be whole in there. Alright, so I'm going to go grab my pan out of the fridge. And it did not sit in there for any certain amount of time. Truly, it just is to hold its shape while you're mixing. Now comes my favorite part of all these. I'm going to go ahead and dump it in. We're going to spread it out. See how full it is? Last time I only took it up like ½ an inch on the side, the crust, and a lot of it was uncrusted, I suppose you could say. So that wasn't working out for me. Now I'm going to put it in for 50 minutes on 325, and I will show you what it looks like when I come back. It's been 45 minutes, and we're going to check on the cheesecake. You want it to jiggle just slightly in the middle. Now, I'm going to fill in the gaps with marshmallow. I'm going to put another layer of marshmallow on top, basically. You just want a nice, even spread of them. That was the opposite of a nice, even spread. Alright, and just a little bit more. Okay. Then you're going to take some of your mini morsels. And just spread those around. And you can use as much or as little as you want. It does not matter. Okay. So now I'm going to pop that back in the oven. And this is the part where you have to watch it really, really closely to see when those brown up. It should take about 5 minutes, but you might want to check before. Alright, so it was in there for about another 5 or 6 minutes. It might take longer, depending on your oven. But that is what it looks like. Make sure you turn off your stove. Now, when you serve it, you can choose to put more of that hot fudge topping on. I chose not to do that because I didn't think it needed it. But I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of our, not the rest of it, but our graham cracker crust that we used and just sprinkle it on top. It just makes it prettier. And it does add a little bit more of that graham cracker flavor. So yeah, and that is it. Now what you'll do is you will leave this here until it completely cools off, and then I will come back and show you what to do next. So it's been sitting for about an hour, and I'm just going to take a butter knife and just go around the edges. You want to make sure you get around the crust and not through the crust. This one's pretty separated. The last one I had to work at. That's the benefit of pulling the crust up further than with normal cheesecakes, because last time it was a fight to get the filling to separate from the pan. But this time it's not at all, because the crust. Alright, so then, that crust is so good. I could just eat that crust. Like, just eat it out of the bowl. Actually, I did eat some out of the bowl, the leftover. Your mom was like, do you want me to throw that away? So anyways, if you've never done this before, on the side of the pan, there's this little latch. Can you see it? There's this little latch thing. And what all you'll do is you'll open it slowly, slowly, and then you'll pull it off. And that came out so nice and clean. I'm going to let Mom take a picture for the cover of this video, and then I'll tell you what to do next. I took some pictures, and I'm just going to put it in the fridge. Keep in mind that the bottom of that springform pan is still on because it is not set up enough yet. It has to refrigerate overnight before you can take that off. So just seal it really well. Keep it fresh. Pop it in the fridge overnight. Honestly, it's even better if you let it sit for 2 nights. I know that sounds crazy, but it gives the flavor time to set up, and I don't know the magic of the cheesecake, but the longer you let it sit, the better it is. So I'm going to pop it in the fridge, and we will come back tomorrow.
Okay, this is Ashley's cheesecake, and I got Anna and Christina and Gavin are going to share a piece because they haven't eaten dinner. So, you have to, okay, let's see. Here we go.
Look. I've already tried it, and I thought it was fantastic. And I asked Ashley what she would charge me to make me one. And she said, buy me the stuff and I'll make you one. So I bought her the stuff, she made me one. What do you think, Christina?
I'm waiting for a bite.
It's amazing.
Do you like it, Christina?
I love it. I love the marshmallow.
All right, Mom and Dad are going to try the cheesecake, and this is what their piece looks like.
I think it's delicious.
Where's the cheesecake?
But as far as s'mores go,
It has a chocolate marshmallow flavor.
What are the hunks that
Like
I'm
the drier
biting?
hunks.
That I'm biting into.
there's graham cracker, there's chocolate chips, there are marshmallows.
Chocolate chips is what it is.
There are whole mini marshmallows in there.
I think it's chocolate chips. That's delicious. I mean,
What
that
I'm biting
is
into
good.
is the hunks of graham cracker.
What was the other cheesecake you made?
Oreo. This one was less work.
I like this one better.
I do too.
Yeah, that one has more flavor than the Oreo. I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
What's this part?
Cheesecake? I don't know.
Mm.
Well, you're supposed, when you make the crust and then you put a layer of marshmallows covered with hot fudge on it, so it's probably gooey marshmallow.
Oh, okay.
Well,
good.
that's delicious.
It's really good.
I'm glad you made it. So,
Was it worth the effort?
Yeah, it was a lot easier than the Oreo cheesecake. It was not as complex.
Yeah. That's cool. It's really good. I'll probably eat some of it.
Alright, so thank you for watching. On my last cheesecake video, somebody asked me how I got it to bake without cracks. You can. I don't do this because it's just for family and I'm not really worried about it. But if you want there to not be any cracks, get like a cake pan and fill it up with water. Not fill it up with water. Put enough water in it so there's a water bath around your cheesecake pan. And then that will prevent any cracks. I don't know what that does. I guess it evens out the heating a little bit more. I'm not really sure. But yeah. So what you're looking for, and again, this is on 325 degrees, 325 degrees. You know when it's finished, when it's just almost set up in the middle. It's a little bit like Jell-O, which is a really disgusting way to describe cheesecake. But if it jiggles just a little bit, that's when it's finished.